Headstrong, violent. No use of the mind God gave. Headstrong, violent. Headstrong, violent. No use of the mind God gave you.
Turn that down. That is very noisy. That's something important to say. What do I have to say? Oh, according to a new poll, 54% of people would reach into a festival toilet to retrieve their telephone, like their iPhone, I guess. Meanwhile, at the gathering of the Juggalos, 95% of attendees would reach into a toilet on a dare, probably for $10. Hi, I'm Kenny Webster. Thanks for joining us for an afternoon edition of Pursuit of Happiness Radio. We are live streaming right now. If you're listening to us on the radio and you're curious what we look like, don't be. It's really not, there's not much to see here. But I am joined by a galley of crazy, a motley crew, if you will, of people today. A bunch of people in the studio. Coming back today, he's been here before, right-wing environmentalist Jesse Henry. What happened to your camera, Jesse? What did you do? Fix it.
I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
Can you fix that? Somebody screws up the threading on this. That really screws up the show. Jesse Henry is here. Jesse, you're a renewable guy. You're one of the Maha people.
Yeah, did you have to introduce me as a right-wing environmentalist?
Yeah, like
seems a little
like Ted Kaczynski. And then also here right now is Faith Bugenhagen, and she's a Mexican, as you could tell by her last name. Faith, welcome. What would inspire you to do something like this?
Oh, I have no idea.
You're instantly regretting it, aren't you?
No, not exactly.
This is a political news talk station, so our listeners that are, news savvy probably know who you are. You are the Cron.com reporter for politics, and you are politically ambiguous. That's right. Yes. The ambiguously political duo. You're not
non-binary.
She's not on the right. She's not on the, and I will admit, as somebody that reads your column regularly,
I don't have a column. I write articles.
Well, okay, but what would you? Isn't there a word for this? I would assume this is called a column, right? Is that not?
No, that's just my author's page of articles.
So it's not called a column.
Already fact checking you.
Okay. See, I thought the age of fact checkers was over, Faith.
No, it is not.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
People don't trust Snopes anymore. Have you seen this before? There was a report that came out. It said a lot of these guys that run these websites like Snopes and PolitiFact.com are ex-FBI, ex-CIA agents. Now, as someone that works in journalism, why do you think, if you had to guess, just as a human being, not as the official spokesperson of Cron.com, why is it so important for ex-intelligence agents to go out and make sure people on social media are aware of what the establishment's opinions are about things?
I have no idea.
You're nervous, aren't you? You're rocking in your chair.
No,
There's a lot.
I'm not nervous at all. I just like moving when talking.
Wait, it
Helps
is.
me think.
As I recently wrote an op-ed for last week for the Houston Chronicle, and it went viral, which is not what your news outlet is. Your news outlet, here, get that mic closer to your mouth. Your news outlet is Cron.com. Cron.com and the Houston Chronicle are different for a reason, right?
Yes.
Houston Chronicle you pay for. Cron.com is ad-based, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
But
we
to-
do not have a subscription.
But why is it so important to you that people know you don't write for the Houston Chronicle?
Well, they're two separate publications, and I feel like most Houstonians actually don't know that. So I'd love to, get the word out there that we are separate publications.
Cron.com isn't really as opinion driven. People often assume that your news outlet is has a liberal bias or that you're left of center. And I thought that for a long time. And I will admit, one of your coworkers, sort of, he works at the Chronicle, Evan Mintz, allowed me to write an op-ed recently, and they let me say whatever I want. And I roasted John Cornyn. I even pointed out how one of his chief staffers was accused of hiring an escort with a Venmo account, just being a creepy. And they put all that in the article. They let me publish all of it. And I will admit, Faith, after a long time of hating Hearst Media, I now don't necessarily feel that way anymore about you guys. And some of our listeners are mad at me for it. But my whole problem with you guys was that I thought you guys censored right-wing thinkers. And it would seem as though, at least with some of the new management, that's not what's happening. And I call balls and strikes. I commend you guys on that. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, well, I cannot speak to management decisions because I'm not management, but I think it's important to note that you wrote an op-ed, and editorial is separate from, opinion separate from editorial, so that's important.
So what you're saying is that while the editorial section would allow a right-wing thinker such as me to exist, the news team would never let that happen because you guys...
That's not what I said. That's not at all what I said.
Okay.
Again, fact-checking Kenny,
Fair-
that is not at all what I said.
Fair enough. Faith, you are doing a good job so far. I commend you on that. In the studio right now as well is Mr. Jesse Henry. Jesse, I actually thought it would be interesting to invite both of you here on the same day for two reasons. Number one, yesterday I was in Baton Rouge giving a speech with Governor Jeff Landry to the oil and gas executives, and we were talking about a topic. It wasn't, you guys aren't necessarily political, at least even though you're a political reporter and what you're talking about is something, Jesse, that is affected by this current administration, the Maha movement. You're not here today to talk about immigration reform or anything like that. You're really bothered by microplastics in our testicles. And I have been checking all morning, and I have not found any microplastics in my testicles. Now, I try to be objective on this. You say it's bad, but for people that have that problem, won't they save a lot of money on prophylactics?
They could. I think you need to check your testicles again, though, Kenny, because I think there might be some there.
They
Apparently, microplastics are in 100% of men's balls.
They don't make a magnifying glass that small, unfortunately, Jesse. That's the problem. You had a list today of what foods to eat to make sure you have the least microplastics in your testicles. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's cut down on the hot coffees and teas and the cups that are plastic.
And
or
what are
have
you drinking
plastic
out of right
liners.
now? I'm just curious. What is that?
Kenny Webster sponsored styrofoam cup.
What is the problem with styrofoam? Do you know when I moved to Texas, I grew up in Illinois in the north suburbs of Chicago. Never seen a styrofoam cup in my life. Wow. And I moved down here. There is styrofoam everywhere. I was really excited about styrofoam cups. It's like the material of the future, but you say it's not.
Polystyrene is one of the worst chemistries for human health.
According to who?
According to the world.
The world, yeah. See,
The
fact
world.
check
What
him.
an attribution.
Fact check
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
Faith. Give this guy hell for that. The world can't, according. What are the foods besides why tea and coffee? Because it's hot and it.
Yeah, I mean, the tea bags are made of polypropylene, so you're getting millions of microplastics when you have the tea. The coffee, it's the temperature in the cup that's creating the plastic liner to degrade in the hot coffees and teas. But if you go to like seafood, for example, there's a lot of bioaccumulation of microplastics in seafood. So it's in all the foods and drinks. It's really tough to get rid of.
But it tastes great.
Apparently, because we're not stopping it anytime soon. And the whole goal here is really, sustainable chemistry is such a bipartisan issue that no one's talking about today.
All right, what else is putting microplastics in our ovaries or our testicles?
Microplastics is a problem. It's not the problem. The problem is that we're in a state of chemical warfare, and we need to figure out how to reduce our toxin exposure on a day-to-day basis. So if we were to just walk through the average morning, right? You wake up, you wash your face, you brush your teeth.
Not me.
You put on deodorant, maybe not if you're Kenny Webster, but other people, they put on skincare.
Waste of money.
They put on skincare stuff. They put on clothes made of synthetic fibers. They eat some food and drink, and all of it, if you haven't consciously chosen it, is contaminated with synthetic chemistries that are disrupting your hormone production, your gut biome, and your brain chemistry.
Okay, so read through the list real quick, because I know there's a bunch more, and we're going to run out of time here.
The list, I don't have the list up in front of me right now, but yeah, the list was seafood, it was salt, it was sugar.
Salt, I love salt.
I know.
How could salt be a problem? It's millions of years old.
It's contaminated.
I had a salt shaker the other day, sea salt. It said it was millions of years old on the front, and then I looked on the back, and it had just expired. What are the odds of that? After all those years, I got bad salt. Can you believe that?
Can't believe it.
I know, and Trader Joe's wouldn't even give me a refund. All right, so fish. Fish was number one.
Yeah, the small fish eat the microplastics, and the bigger fish eat the smaller fish. Then the biggest fish eat the medium-sized fish.
All right, on that note, a big news story today is that we were getting the radioactive, hang on, let me put that on the screen, radioactive shrimp from Indonesia. Now, I looked into it, and we can get shrimp right out of the Gulf of America because of Mississippi, right? We've all seen that movie, Forrest Gump. You remember that scene, right? Where he has sex with Jenny and he doesn't get AIDS. Does that even make sense to you? It makes not that scene.
I must have missed that.
The scene where they're reading off all the different kinds of shrimp: coconut shrimp, shrimp sandwich, shrimp stew.
I remember this. Yes.
If we can get it out of the Gulf, why are we getting radioactive shrimp from Indonesia, Jesse?
Oh man, that's a really tough question. There's contamination at all levels. One, in the water. Two, in the processing equipment. So contamination can come from anywhere. And
they say it's mostly Walmart's fault, apparently, huh?
Oh, Walmart's fault. They're definitely putting, that picture's great, man.
I know. That's where, for those of them listening on the radio, we're looking at pictures right now of radioactive shrimp. And I really liked this. This one was my favorite, the big guy right there. And weirdly enough, if you look down there, a lot of microplastics in his balls, So to your point,
great abs, though.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the high protein diet. It's great for you. RFK Jr. really does not like this stuff. The microplastics, the ultra processed foods, the glyphosate, and the electromagnetic, that's an easy word, radiation. What is it? What is his problem with all this stuff, Jesse? What if this is just a great origin story for the next superhero movie?
This could be a Marvel movie that we're facing right now, right? Chemical warfare is actually one of the biggest problems on our planet, and no one's talking about it. So what RFK Jr. is doing is really great because he's tackling in all these different sectors. It's food, it's agriculture, it's chemicals, it's pharma, and he's trying to get these toxic ingredients out of our supply chain so they increase human health and planetary health outcomes.
Faith is here, Faith Bugenhagen from the Cron.com, obviously. And what else did you used to write for?
I used to write for the Houston Press for about 3 years.
Ken Paxton was just involved in a lawsuit that has Kellogg's taking some of the chemicals out of cereal. Did you cover that story?
I did not cover it, but I did hear about it.
Would Ken Paxton be the guy that you would think would be the dude to fix Fruity Loops or whatever? Like, it didn't. I was a little surprised by that.
I think there are bigger issues that he's probably attending to, but he has filed a slew of lawsuits that are environmentally kind of charged, so it doesn't necessarily surprise me that.
Wait, Faith, out of curiosity though, you don't think that synthetic dyes and sweeteners are
that is
are a
not
big
at all what
problem
I
for
said.
kids?
That is not at all.
Maybe
what I
I'll
said.
fact check her. She didn't say that.
Maybe
That's
it's
true.
causing human health outcomes for our children, like increases in ADHD from having red dyes, or maybe synthetic food colorants or other synthetic sweeteners. That's not a problem that
Yeah, which chemicals do you think we should
be
use to kill
tackling.
kids? Faith Bugenhagen, Cron.com. Go ahead.
I never said any such thing. None of those things. I just think that, Paxton has a number of issues on his plate, and he has sued for a number of issues.
So in terms of issues that politicians care about, presumably human health should be at the top of the list, though, no?
Well,
it should
protecting
be among
our
the
citizens.
top of the list.
Among the top of the
The
list.
government is supposed to protect us. I think we agree on that. All right, I'll ask you this, because this is a politically ambiguous question. As somebody that covers politics, does it surprise you that now in 2025, it's the Republicans that care about preservatives and chemicals in their foods, and the Democrats have kind of taken a back seat on that? I mean, do you find that surprising as someone that's covered politics for how old are you? 24? Like, for 4 years, or how long have you covered politics?
I guess 6.
6 years, okay. But as a kid, you didn't just get into politics. You must have been interested in this as a teenager, right?
Slightly. I actually started out as an arts and culture reporter, so I did happen to fall into politics.
All right, here's another politically ambiguous question. Is there any, in your industry, is there anything as useless as a music critic? I mean, I don't need someone to tell me if the new Radiohead
That is
album...
not useless. Music critics are not useless.
You have to say that because your website has music critics.
No, that's not true.
Who's the most useless, though? If one reporter had to go away, is it crime? Would it be the culinary guy?
I think there is value in free press, all free press,
What was
and
the-
all news reporters, as well as any other topic of reporters.
All right, you heard it here first. She doesn't like the editorial section, Faith just said.
That is not at all what I said.
We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anymore. More with Faith Bugenhagen and Jesse Henry, the right-wing environmentalist, right after this.
I'm listening to Pursuit of Happiness Radio.
This is Kenny Webster's Pursuit of Happiness on KPRC 950, Houston.
Hey, everybody, while we are waiting there for... what did you just say? I didn't hear you. Did you make a point you weren't supposed to make?
No.
I don't think anybody... There was a loud noise playing. I don't think they could... I couldn't hear you in my headphones. Jesse just said something inappropriate, didn't he? Was it about your testicles? It's okay. We're off the air right now. It's just us and the hundreds of people watching us stream. So
okay.
You're in good company here. Nobody can hear.
Sorry, Mom. That's all I got to say.
What did you say about your mom?
She's just not going to be happy with
She's not going to be happy
some
with
of this.
Hey, while we're waiting,
Essentially.
I'm saving segment. For those of you that are wondering what's going on here, I am, this is, if you just joined us in this live stream, we are recording segments that are going to be heard later this afternoon on KPRC 950, Texas's oldest radio station. And while I'm getting the next segment queued up, a quick reminder, October 5th is a Sunday. Me, Chad Prather, Jesse Payton, Operation Comedy Therapy 2025. We're raising money for Wheelchairs for Warriors, and a lot of you have been to that in the past, it always sells out. If you guys attend this, if you enjoy it, stick around for that because we will have tickets available very soon, and we will probably give some away for free. All right, stand by. We're going back on the radio right now. Okay. You'll appreciate this, Faith, because you write things for the internet. A new survey says that reading for pleasure has fallen by 40% in the last couple of decades here. We're surprised to hear that. Meanwhile, reading online user agreements remains steady at 0%. Nobody's ever read a user agreement ever in the history of your entire life. Do you know what else I wonder? I don't look at this. I never would. But I'm told that on adult websites at the bottom of videos, there's a comment section. Jesse Henry, who's that for exactly? Who's leaving a comment? Why is that? What would inspire someone at the end of whatever they're doing, following the plot line avidly at the end of...
Someone that should be on a list.
At the end of that experience to go, you know what, I'd really like people to know what I thought of this.
Yeah.
When you're writing, Faith, while you're writing those comments, what do you usually type there?
I am not writing those comments.
So you're just watching and then getting off the website.
I am not watching.
Faith, since you're here, and let's call this segment Meet Your Journalist. Let's be clear. She does not look at adult entertainment. She's disgusted by it. That's fine. She's a paleo-conservative when it comes to that. I appreciate that. What is it?
I did not say that.
You became a journalist for a reason, though. You started working at the Tribune, you said? No, the Free Press.
No, I worked at the Houston Press.
The Houston Press, okay. Did they used to have a festival? Were you guys associated with that, or was that...
I don't think we were, but that was also before my time with them, so...
Well, on that topic, why doesn't Houston have a good music festival? Austin has music festivals. Dallas has it. Chicago's got Lollapalooza. We're the fourth biggest city. They should have Travis Scott do a festival. You know what I mean?
No comment.
But it would be great if they did it.
I think we do need a fun music festival that is Houston-centric, and I'm sure that would draw a lot of artists.
Without giving me your opinion, you've covered this a lot. Marty Langton was here not long ago. He is the firefighter union president. He is a Republican primary candidate for county judge. Amazingly, he's the union leader for a government group of workers, and Republicans love him right now. I don't think that would have happened 10 years ago. I like Marty. I think he's a good guy. I've talked to him about this before, and a lot of people that work with first responders, firefighters, cops, they blame Sylvester Turner for that. When you hear from people about why that Astro World, do you know about this, Jesse? We had a big music festival here. Was it 2 years ago?
Were you here?
And no, he just moved here.
Really?
He travels around the country.
Yeah, it was pretty.
like an escort staying at Airbnbs or whatever. A couple of years ago, there was a rap concert here, and a bunch of kids died. There was a stampede. There were it was called Astro World. It was named after a theme park that used to be here. A lot of people some people blame Live Nation, some people blame the local political leaders, some blame the county, some blame the city. When you get a general reading, not your opinion, but who do you think most people blame for that?
I think, to your point, they blame all of kind of the parties involved. I know that there was a lot on Scott himself, and that's kind of been talked about in reports and all that. So I think every party, to my understanding and what I've heard from sources, as well as when I was covering that after effect, because I did cover that for the Houston Press, the reports were put out. There was like shared responsibility is what a lot.
I'm going to play white devil's advocate here on this, and I bet I won't take the position you expect. Live Nation throws festivals all the time. All the time. People don't die at them, right? They follow the protocol and the rules in each city, county, municipal government. Happens all the time. I enjoy alternative music. I'm standing here wearing a KMFDM shirt as I'm talking on a conservative talk station. I've been in a lot of mosh pits. I've had a lot of strangers' blood and sweat on me in my life. I've never seen children get trampled to death. Of all the festivals, concerts, rave parties, punk shows, and I've been to a lot, I've never seen that happen before. I got to think the one denominator, the one factor here that existed that didn't normally exist in all the other festivals and concerts these people have been involved in, it's Travis Scott's job as the entertainer to get the crowd fired up. I saw Pantera at the Woodlands Pavilion a year and a half ago. I didn't see anybody die. That's like the loudest, angriest heavy metal band on. Lamb of God was the opening act. Nobody died, right? Isn't that his job? I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, and I don't expect you to answer this, but how is it not the local government's fault? They're the ones that dictated the rules on this. Everybody followed them, and then kids died.
Yeah, well, and like I said, there was a report that was put out about the shortcomings of the law enforcement and security that were there. So if anybody wants to check that out.
You wrote the article.
I did 2 years ago.
This is like Kamala Harris on The Tonight Show. You've got to read my book to find out what happened in the 100 days of the election.
And there are also much more in-depth analysis and reports about that I would also go to.
Sounds like the Spider-Man meme where everyone's just pointing accountability at the next guy.
That's how everything is with accountability, though.
Well, especially since people might die. You know the funniest
Coming
thing?
from a political correspondent, that's a very keen insight there.
I mean, she's right about that. You know the funniest thing about that? Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Wasn't one of the people they wanted to charge, wasn't it Drake? If I'm not mistaken, didn't he have some involvement in it?
I believe he was wrapped up in some way because I believe he was
with a teenage girl backstage, probably?
No,
Come on.
not what I said.
Doesn't that sound like something he would do, though?
No comment to that.
What would Kendrick Lamar say? Come on, dude. That's a good song. That is a good song.
That's a good setup.
That is a good song. Okay, we'll leave that one alone. You don't have to explain a tragedy you had nothing to do with. I don't blame you for that. Faith, what of all your recent articles here, if people were to look at your website at cron.com, at your authors page, not a column as you described it, right at the top of the screen here, who could replace Ken Paxton as Attorney General? And then your next article, Chip Roy just jumped in and announced he's running. There's a friend of mine that works down the hall in the KTRH newsroom. He's a good guy. Tells me today he thinks Trump endorses Chip Roy. Chip Roy is hated by MAGA. I have a hard time believing that Trump would endorse Chip Roy. Do you have any thoughts on that as a journalist?
Yeah, I mean, wrote that article actually this morning, and I cited in there multiple times that Chip Roy has, butted heads with President Trump in the past. And so to think that he would get an endorsement, I think is an interesting take. We'll definitely have to see. But I do think it's an interesting take because there is that tension between their relationship for a multitude of reasons, the 2020 election, as well as the big, beautiful bill.
So when you say interesting, you mean wrong, obviously, because it's not the right take. It's clearly the wrong take.
I am not in the business of prediction.
Okay, here's what I do wonder, and I bet you could probably answer this question for me, because I wrote an article for your website recently, and I was in
my website, the Houston Chronicle.
For your company.
Opinion.
I wrote an article for your company, the umbrella Hearst Media,
yes,
right? Fair? Do we agree on that?
Correct.
And I was very interested to see what picture they chose of Ken Paxton. Now, I like Ken Paxton more than John Cornyn.
Pull it up.
I'll admit it is hard to find. I will admit it is hard to find a good photo of Ken Paxton. I'll admit that. He's not what you'd call a supermodel of good looks. But that's not why people like him. They like him because he's a great legal scholar and apparently a ladies' man, according to some. I'm still going to vote for him if the picks are him and John Cornyn. But I was curious why they picked this picture. Who picks the photos, Faith? I'm just
Well,
curious.
actually, I'd like to backtrack for a second.
You don't think
because
he's a ladies' man?
Why? I didn't comment on that.
Sex machine. What term would you use for
I did
Ken?
not comment
Okay.
on any of those things.
Fair.
Why are you choosing him over Cornyn? Can you get into
Well,
it?
you'll have to read the article to
Well,
find.
I did read the article, but
Okay,
if
here's-
others have not read,
here's
give
why.
us a couple bullet
I'm not a
points.
MAGA Republican. I'm not. I would say the 5 big issues that people voted on or 6. I probably agree with Trump on 4 of them. But 4 is a lot more than Kamala. I agree with none. I'm a libertarian Republican. I'm a Ron Paul guy. Hate war. Hate censorship. I hate that the FBI in the 2020 election went out and told Twitter to censor Hunter Biden's. As a journalist, that must upset you, even if you don't agree with that side. That they told them to censor the New York Post, that Hunter Biden's laptop wasn't legitimate news. How is it the FBI's job to do that? That's crazy. But getting back to John Cornyn, I don't like that this guy voted for every war we've ever had. I raise a lot of money for military veterans in wheelchairs. I'll tell you, a lot of them have PTSD. They can't sleep at night. They're in broken marriages. They have drug addiction. They're riddled with opioids because of stuff John Cornyn voted yes on. Ken Paxton is not a perfect guy. He's not a Boy Scout. But I'll tell you, it's the devil I know versus the... Ken Paxton's done a great job of suing every company I hate. Pfizer, Jesse? He sued Pfizer. He sued Moderna. He sued... We just talked about Kellogg, right?
Yeah.
I'll ask you a question. As a Maha guy, who do you trust more? John Cornyn, Mr. Big Business, or Ken Paxton, the guy just sued every company you hate?
I don't know the political figures, but when in doubt, trusting big pharma, big ag, big food, big chemicals typically doesn't yield good results.
Okay, well, that's John Cornyn gets money from these people. He's been friendly with them for decades. John Cornyn is a guy who would vote yes on any war. So there's going to be a war, and he'd answer yes before you finish the question. Anything Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn, Mitch McConnell votes yes on, I don't like it. These are old school neocon, paleo-conservative Republicans. They care what you smoke. They care who you have sex with. They want to censor you. They're basically everything that's wrong with the Democrats with everything that's wrong with the Republicans in one big package. That's what I don't like about John Cornyn. Ken Paxton never voted to send my friends to go die in Afghanistan in a 25-year war. Ken Paxton never voted to send more money to Ukraine in a war. I'll tell you what, in Ukraine and Russia, you know who the bad guy is? Both sides. You want to see a group of people that hate us and don't care about us? It's pretty much any oligarchy in Eastern Europe. Before this war happened, Ukraine didn't have legal gay marriage. Women didn't have rights. All that stuff happened during a small period of time so that they could try to convince Western political figures to give more money to them. Like, Ukraine was never pro-gay before this. That happened during the war. They haven't had an election since the war started. If they did, I think people would be pretty shocked to learn there's a strikingly large number of people in Ukraine that don't like Zelensky and probably wouldn't vote for him. He outlawed the opposition party. And oh, by the way, this is one of John Cornyn's buddies. I could talk about this for a long time, obviously. What do you like about him?
What do I like about John Cornyn?
Well, you asked me for a reason.
I never endorsed John Cornyn.
You don't endorse anyone.
Or mention
Because you're politically asymmetrical. Ambiguous. I'm kidding. But why did you ask me that question, Faith Bugenhagen of Cron.com?
I just thought the listeners should know if they haven't read your op-ed. Although I did read it.
You know,
written.
I host this talk show, right? They've heard me do that rant before. I could talk about that for 3 hours. I do not like John Cornyn. I do not like Matt McCoyak. I think he's a creepy weird. I wouldn't trust Matt McCoyak alone with any woman in my family. I think he's a creepy weirdo. That guy just gives me the creeps. Have you ever looked at him? That double chin, fat F word. That guy is disgusting. Just a pig of a human.
Statement, though.
Just a greasy, piggish, slimy-looking human being. And you have to cover politics. How would you feel being alone with Matt McCoyak on an elevator at the state capitol, Faith Bugenhagen? You don't have to answer that question.
I am not commenting on that.
I want Matt. Matt, look at me. Matt, I promise you on the camera, if you're watching this video, I will see you again. I promise. All right. We're going to run out of time here in a minute, but I'll tell you what. Do you guys have to run or can you hang for 10 more minutes?
Let's hang.
Do you have to run? We're going to do some bonus here. For those of you watching us on social media, don't go anywhere. Stick around. I want to watch my favorite video from this week for a second time. I want to do an encore performance of the Rhode Island Attorney General, who kept repeating the fact that she is an AAG before she got arrested for getting blackout drunk in a seafood restaurant. Who does that? But to those of you listening on the radio, join us on social media in just a few short moments. I love you all. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning for more of what you bought a radio for.
You are listening to the Pursuit of Happiness Radio. Tell the government to kiss your ass when you listen to this show.
All right, we're back. Everybody watching us on social media. We didn't go anywhere. My favorite video this week, for those that haven't watched it yet, is the video of this Rhode Island AAG. I want to make a point here. She keeps repeating. This woman the other day is with her friend who I guess is an executive at Pepsi or something like that. And they're at a seafood restaurant in a bougie place in Rhode Island. I've never been to Rhode Island. I don't go to Rhode Island. I don't think Rhode Island would want me to be there. And they're getting drunk. I don't know if it was half off margarita night or what they're having. No idea. I will tell you this. I've seen white liberal women get drunk before, and they don't think the rules apply to them. So this Rhode Island prosecutor tried to throw her weight around with police when they were asked to get her out of the restaurant. Remember, as you're watching this video, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, which I assume most of you on social media have, this is a restaurant. Their incentive is to keep the customers happy, in their chairs, spending money. It's not like this person is in charge of a library where they want all the homeless people to leave at the end of the day so they can close up and go home. That's not what's happening here. And so this woman and her friend are just getting pissed drunk at a seafood restaurant. They call the cops to get them to leave. Clearly, they're upsetting other people there. And we're going to watch a few minutes of this. I'm going to fast forward around a little bit. And then I want to get Jesse and Faith's reaction to it. I think this is politically... I think this is non-political enough that you could weigh in on it, right? Don't behave poorly. And as a guy that can't eat seafood because of the microplastics, Jesse, surely you have problems with this we hadn't even thought of yet.
What she was eating was radioactive.
I assume it was right. Maybe, actually, that's a great angle. If I was her lawyer, and that was in the news, Your Honor, it's not my client's fault. She had recently consumed some shrimp from Walmart. It was growing green. Anyway, let's play the video here. Here's a little bit of it. Let me get it on the screen here, and let's hit play.
I want you to turn the body cam off. Protocol is that you turn it off. If a citizen requests it to turn it off, she's a lawyer.
So they want you guys to leave?
Yes, we're gonna.
Let's just leave. Let's just make it easy,
We're
okay?
gonna make it easy. That's not.
I am. Okay. I'm her
That's
husband.
not the point. Can you look at me?
Yeah, we'll talk over here, okay?
Your protocol is.
Can we all talk? Can we all talk? We'll talk over here. They want you to leave.
Your protocol.
All the cops want them to do is leave. If they left right now, this video would be over in 20 seconds.
Who is she to you?
What's that?
No, nothing. Nothing.
She is our college friend.
Okay.
Yes.
They're asked, now remember, they asked the husband here, the boyfriend or whatever, what does she do? The boyfriend's smart enough to not try to make this more interesting and point out one of them's an executive at a big company and the other's an assistant attorney general. They aren't as smart as he is.
Do we want to chat?
I know that your protocol is.
So you're trespassed, so we got to leave now. Unless you want to be in
We're not trespassing. You haven't notified us that we're trespassing.
What
Number one.
did I
Number
just
two.
say to you? You're trespassed.
Number
Let's go.
one.
They're being notified right now. If she's a lawyer...
Us. Number two
So let's
is
leave.
that
We got to go. We got to go.
protocol
Let's
is
go. Let's go.
the citizen protocol is if we ask you to
I
turn
don't
the
want.
body
I don't
cam
want to
off.
deal with this. Let's
Okay.
go.
No, I understand you don't want to deal with it, but the
let's go.
protocol is,
Wait,
and your
can you-
protocol
can
is
you
if I
relax?
ask you to turn off the body cam, you have to turn it off, and that's your protocol.
She's a f***ing lawyer, so she knows.
She's an effing lawyer. You know that old saying when they tell you, like, so you're buying drugs illegally, not that we would, and then your stoner friend will go, are you a cop? You have to tell us. That's not actually the law. I think that's probably true in this context as well.
Please don't put your hands on us.
Can you get your children out of here? Like, I don't know why.
I'm sorry, what?
Let's go.
Let's go. No.
Come on, they're two full-grown women and mothers. All right.
You're just being detained. You're just being detained.
I'm an 18.
Yeah, as you got to admit, as far as instant karma porn goes, this is pretty good.
What's wrong with you?
What are you probable cause to detain me for?
You're being detained because you're not leaving.
Because I'm what?
All right, I'm going to fast forward here just a little bit to get to the other great part of this. They arrest the Pepsi lady. Listen to the boyfriend in the background.
Yeah, cops.
Yep. Right here.
Did you hear what he's saying? I'm right here, honey.
No, I'm right here. I'm right here.
She's calling on her boyfriend in a blue denim jeans and a black jacket to help her. What does she think he's going to do? Fight the cop?
I'm right here.
No, babe, please, I'm scared.
I'm right here.
Please, up to this. Please, up to this. No, I'm not going to find this. I'm after.
I'm right here.
Do you understand, too, for those of you that have been arrested before, these women are going to be in jail for like 3 hours while the paperwork gets processed. What is she scared of?
I'm right here.
No, babe.
Relax.
No,
Relax.
babe.
What's wrong with you?
Relax.
We don't want to put you in handcuffs. Let's go. Let's go.
No, Dave.
Listen, you're overreacting. You're adding charges.
You're overreacting.
No. Please take my hands up. Please take Trevor out of handcuffs. No, please take
You were overreacting. You didn't have to have this happen. Get in the car.
No.
Get in the car.
No! Babe, no!
You got two to say. I'm right here.
I love how she's screaming the word babe and terror like it's his pet name, but she's so conditioned to say that word that even while getting arrested, she still calls him babe.
In the car.
The cops could not have been nicer, by the way.
Dan!
Hey, I'm right here.
No, Dave!
All right. Let's tune this out for just a second. You don't have to agree with me, but to me, this is instant karma. This video wouldn't be 5.5 minutes long if they just left the seafood restaurant. By the way, probably would have left without paying their bill. Probably would have saved $300 on margaritas and oysters would be my guess. Faith, I bet you have the least controversial opinion. Why don't we start with you? What did you think of this video?
I mean, yeah, I think that just leaving would have been the right option. I think if you're asked to leave a business or an establishment, that's probably the best idea, is to just listen, and that's about it.
When you got kicked out of the Red Lobster, what happened that night?
I have never gotten kicked out of Red
Have you ever been kicked out of any restaurant?
No.
Have you ever been kicked out of a party?
No.
Kicked out of a high school volleyball game?
No.
You remember kicked out of anything?
No.
You have never had fun before. Jesse, how about you? What's the best mid-price restaurant you've ever been thrown out of? Tell us.
Oh, he's been kicked out of somewhere.
No,
before.
I'm trying to think. There was I'm trying to remember.
Men are
the
just
name of
different
the
than women.
spot.
I
Yeah.
could think of 4 places right off the
Okay,
top.
so why don't you start?
Oh, I've told all these stories on the radio. I've been kicked out of bars. I've been kicked out of sporting events. I've been kicked out of parties, definitely. Usually this mouth, believe it or not, Faith, has gotten me in trouble. You see this fake tooth right here? This is a fake tooth. You know why I've got that? Run in the mouth. That's happened.
I can imagine that that's the case.
No shame in the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game, Faith. Jesse, what do you got?
I got with my high school friends a funny story about it.
Dunkin' Donuts?
It was a Shake Shack.
It was a Shake Shack.
It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and some guy was being loud, and I got up and tried to put him in his place, and it got a little testy.
It's always the good guy. You know what I
Apparently.
mean? Some woman gets groped, and 2 other guys step up to defend her, and then weirdly enough, the police walk in from whatever state you're in and tell those guys to leave. What did they do wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think when we watch this video, man, like, shouldn't we be holding people in positions of power to a higher standard?
I guarantee this woman is not going to be AAG. There's no way she keeps this job, right, Faith? You've covered a lot of. Would you, if you had to bet on polymarket.com?
I mean, I think that, okay, so I actually do have a take on this, because a lot of politicians evade accountability. So whether or not she'll hold this position, I can't say, but I do think that politicians have their way of getting out of being held accountable. And I think we've seen that.
All right, Jesse, what do you got?
Yeah, I think we need to hold people in power to higher standards. I think it's insane that we let people get away with this. This is just a personification of a much bigger problem in our society. And if we're going to look to these people to lead society, we need to hold them to standards, that we should expect of the most basic standards of children.
You know what I think? I think that they shouldn't do half off on margaritas on Tuesday nights at whatever cheap
Don't
seafood.
kill that. Don't kill that.
This would have been so easy. Just cut them off. Am I the only one that's ever worked in the service industry before? That one's had a few too many. Sorry, ma'am, you can't have another old fashioned. I apologize. You've had enough daiquiris or whatever it is they're ordering. Before we get out of here, should we read the comments from people that they've been leaving during? There's not that many actually today. I'm surprised because I feel like you guys were a good panel. You were great, Faith.
Thank you.
Is this what you were expecting it to be like?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty much the same. Worse or better, or just right on brand?
Actually, a little better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you think you were going to get attacked?
No.
You knew
not
that
at all.
I would. We have mutual friends. I think that your reporting is objective. I'm going to say something the audience would not expect me to say. This Hearst media reporter does not seem to be very biased. I say very biased because we all have a few biases, whether we'd like to admit it or not. Jesse?
Oh, that's interesting.
What did you learn on this broadcast today?
Oh, I learned that Kron's owned by Hearst Media, and If you do some history on Hearst Media, you'll find some very interesting.
Oh, that they invented yellow journalism?
Oh, just
Is that what you were going to
the
say?
paper industry, the media industry, the reason why the hemp industry went bust back in the teens.
Oh, Jesse,
about 100 years ago.
this
Yeah,
just
no, we
got
won't get into this
interesting.
one.
Oh, Jesse.
That's a whole rabbit hole.
Jesse, don't. No, go
but
ahead.
Hearst has been on the wrong side of that legislation.
Now, to be fair, that was like 100 years ago, right? You're not talking
well,
about this month.
yeah, but also, that ripple effect over 100 years creates destruction, unfortunately.
Faith, you want to defend your late
No
business
comment.
Well, she doesn't have to comment.
No, she can't. She can't, which is fine, right?
Honestly,
but
what can you do about it? Look, I work for a giant media company. You think we're perfect? Obviously, we're not.
No.
Let's read some of the comments, and they're flattering comments about you, Faith, and your appearance, but would that be demeaning as a journalist for me
It
to read?
would be very demeaning.
Well, then I will
Let's
not
move
read
on.
what Lefty the crime boss said. They are flattering. They're not like sexual. He thinks you're cute. There's a person in the comment section who thinks you're cute. We'll just leave it at that.
Damn. Any comments about me in the section?
Nobody said anything about you.
Wow.
They did. Jake said, Jake left a comment for you, I think, while you were talking about, I'm going to put you on camera so we can get your reaction to this.
God.
I think while you were talking about microplastics and testicles, Jake on Facebook said, tell this guy to save some pussy for the rest of us. I didn't write that. I didn't write it on the screen, but I did read it out loud. Okay, here's a question for you, because you were talking about the microplastics in seafood and the radioactive stuff. What's the verdict on Swedish fish? Do Swedish fish, I'm guessing he eats them, the candies, do those have microplastics in them?
Well, I'm guessing Swedish fish have at minimum red 40, which is proven long history of being absolutely horrible for human health outcomes, and then obviously high fructose corn syrup.
I like Swedish fish, but I always just assumed it was candle wax with sugar in it.
Yeah, I mean, and then you add in all the preservatives and emulsifiers and all the other chemistries that are involved. I can pretty much categorically guarantee you that Swedish fish are not good for you.
Chris on YouTube thinks I did not make your mic loud enough, and after I read that, Faith, I turned your mic up. Chuck said something that was disgusting, and I'm not going to read it out loud. Chuck, shame on you. He's a person, Chuck. Don't objectify Jesse. That's disgusting. Unbelievable.
Oh.
And he got your pronouns wrong. It's just amazing.
Oh, wow.
I'm Kenny Webster. I'm Kenny Webster. I love you all. Thank you for watching. If you don't mind sharing this video, hey, while you're at it, follow Faith on X. If you follow politics in Houston, at the very least, give her a Faith Bugenhagen. Let me put it up on the screen here. Faith, I have to admit, saying your last name is a lot of fun to me. I enjoy it. The mouse isn't working now. I wanted to get it on the screen. It's not working. She's on X, I assure you. I couldn't find. There we go. Here. This doesn't always work the way I want it to. Where is she? There she is, at @FBugenhagen_. Trending news reporter in government politics at cron.com, formerly of the Houston Press. Oh, you weren't lying. And she went to Emerson. How about that? Where did you go to college at, Jesse?
I went to Florida State University.
A party school. Imagine that. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Surprise. Kenny.
Anyway, I love you all. I went to the University of Illinois, and I got to run. Have a great day. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning for more of what you bought a radio for.